Today, we are finally working on the 240SX. Now that the drift event is only 2 days away, 1.5 days if you're counting the drive there. What we need to do is replace the oil pan. I'll show you how the oil pan looks on the car. It's not too good. As well as convert the door on the left side to power, because I can't roll the windows up without having both doors being power. And there's not even a crank for the left door to be rolled up. And honestly, I'm surprised I was able to find an OEM pan so easily for an RB25, but we're actually loading up because I plan to do all this work at Omar's. I brought some additional things as well. Hopefully we have time to knock everything off the list. I don't usually like preparing for drift events last minute, but here we are. And if you guys have missed out on the last couple of videos, the Integra decided to blow up out of nowhere, but we replaced that in 1 day, so that took up a whole day's work. That's all right, you know how we do it. We get things done on this channel. I would also like to see how these wheels look on the rear. That switch is just for power steering. I thought I would have time to install my power steering kit that changes, you know, how hard the pump puts out. But we're gonna have to put that off till after the event, most likely. I noticed the car was getting really hot on the highway, and it's been doing that for a while. It gets to like 190 plus just cruising, which tells me I need to make some type of air ducting. I had to do that once before the crash, of course, but I didn't remake that plate that was completely crumpled in the crash. Basically what I think is happening is the radiator's not getting enough airflow, because obviously it's just straight intercooler in the front. Yeah, can't even see the radiator. The first thing I want to do is mount the RG1s on the rear, simply because that is the easiest task that I need to do today. And I think that'll give me enough motivation to get going. Sometimes you gotta check off the easy stuff first, you know, get some momentum. Man, all that brake dust just shot out. So hard to keep white wheels clean. Honestly, I might need a spacer. I mean, they're not bad, but the black just kills it for me. You know, you can't really see any detail. Whatever, let's get started on the oil pan. Now, since I fabbed up my own lower radiator support, this is indeed a jack point. All right, let's take a look at this oil pan. Yeah. Oh my gosh. Even the drain bowl is flattened. Travis, you gotta see this pan, dude.
What's it looking like? Oh my gosh. Dude, that looks like a bad road.
Yeah.
I like the little dirt.
Oh yeah. What the heck? Oh.
Dude, that's wild.
Right? I wonder where that happened.
I'm surprised that you hit here and not, like, you know what I mean? You like scraped it,
here.
but...
Yeah, that was a nasty
That's a nasty
hit.
pothole, bro.
That took me out. Before we start ripping this pan out, let's make sure that the new pan is the right one. Just do a quick visual inspection. Yeah, that looks like the one. Oh, this is gonna be so fun. I'm just hoping a socket fits on this. Oh, yeah. So far so good. Oil does not look shiny. Now before I start taking off all these 10mm bolts, it looks like I'm gonna have to take off this brace here. This connects the engine to the transmission. Looks like it's only 4 bolts. Shouldn't be too bad for both sides. And usually taking out oil pans in these cars means you have to either lift the engine or drop the subframe. So we're gonna have to cross that bridge when we get there. Full access here. Let's do that side. I wonder how many 10mm bolts there are. You gotta check out this oil pan, Omar.
Oh. It doesn't look bad.
Not bad?
No.
Should I keep it on there then?
It looks like my oil pan.
It looks like your oil pan?
Where's the sump on these? Right here?
I don't know. Never had a pan off before.
Well, if it's right here, you're fucking clear, babe.
Doesn't still think it's about to go
If it's
through.
like right here, you may have a problem.
Yeah. I
See
mean,
the one on the right side of them? The little scrape right there? Doesn't it look like there's a hole?
this looks like it's about to go through.
Yeah. Do they sell like a lower profile oil pan?
I don't know.
Like one that goes out like wider, you know what I mean?
Yeah, they make actually a kit that you can weld in and do it.
For baffling.
No, I'm not talking about just baffles. I'm talking about like the Moroso pan for the SRs. How it just flares out, it's made way wider, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So you still keep the capacity, but it's lower profile.
I don't know. I probably should have looked into that before I just bought a OEM replacement.
Yeah. So you can crush it again?
Yeah. Oh well. We are going to attempt to take off the oil pan without raising or dropping the subframe first. This is some factory RTV here. It's not even a good spot to pry this from.
I got one over here.
You do?
I think. Guess we don't have to worry about bending it all or anything.
Oh, what the fuck?
Oh, you motherfucker. You're canceled.
Dude, I drained the oil.
Start a Patreon, give me a new driveway. That's fucked.
I guess I'll be here scrubbing after all this.
Get Logan over here. Too. You drained the oil with the car in this angle probably too, huh?
Yeah, that's
Nice going.
That's it.
That's it.
Well, you see, my pan has been relocated. So all the oil goes to the back now.
So was your common sense.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, that could have been worse. Yep. Definitely have to raise this thing up.
Yep.
Dang it.
I'm sure the sump's gonna block it either way. If
Right.
you were able to slide it out, this would catch it.
We got 22 and 12 mil Allen.
Now it's spinning.
Damn. Ready?
Yep.
Here we go.
Alright, I'm on.
Oh, please be enough room. Oh, can you pull the oil dipstick? Should be on the intake side. So far so good, just trying to guide this oil that's still in the pan. Oh, I think I might need to take off the pickup. Pickup is off. Look at that. Any damage? Oh,
Some sludge.
it does have some sludge for RTV? Question mark? It's not metal, is it?
Oh boy.
It looks kind of gritty.
No, it is RGB.
It is? Okay.
So it is scary. Yeah.
It did scare me. How are you looking, dude? Tight. Never seen the inside of this thing.
There you go.
And there you go.
Look at that. That's a healthy cradle right there.
Yeah, it is. Good old RB.
Like getting your way.
The bottom of the block has been prepped. We took out the gasket off of there. Luckily, we don't need to clean off the old pan since we're replacing it, because that would have just taken twice as long. So now we'll prep the new pan. Where's the new pan? Installing the gasket right now. A little bit goes a long way. We're gonna do the method where we reinstall this and then let the pan sit on the engine for about an hour to let the gasket material harden up enough. That way it gets a good seal when you fully bolt it in. I'm getting ready to put this pan back in, and so I don't forget, I'm gonna go ahead and put the pickup in there now. I did also clean off the screen, so there's no gunk in there. It's all nice and clean. We got the bolts to the oil pan started. We're gonna let it sit there. It's just finger tight right now. We're gonna let the gasket harden up, and I'm gonna finish tightening up the motor mounts here. Omar and I lowered the engine back into the mounts, so those are good to go. So the engine has been completely lowered into the position where it will sit, and you can see how much lower the oil pan is from the subframe. This is not ideal at all. I don't know if this is because I used an S14 subframe this time around. Now I always thought S13 and S14 subframes were the same, but now I'm thinking maybe the motor mount bracket height is different between the S14 and S13. Can anyone confirm that? That's the only thing I can think of, because before my engine did not sit this low. The oil pan was not the lowest point. Well, the RB is ready for a test start, but Omar's mounting his new wheels. Model 6s?
Never before seen reverse stacking.
Oh yeah, that was gonna be good.
I need a little spacer.
Is it hitting?
Yeah.
I don't see any fresh leaks. Oops. While it feels like we're making great progress on the 240, we only have about 6 hours left to work on the car because we need to leave for the event. A few main things we need to do is drain the coolant from the system because US Air does not allow coolant on the track, so we have to put distilled water in. And I also have to reinstall my coolant overflow bottle. I wanted to do spark plugs, a little tune-up. I also want to make air ducting for the front radiator, and I definitely have to install the power window regulator. That way we can have the windows up when we're driving 5 hours to the track. So hopefully we can accomplish all that. I think I'm going to start with draining the coolant, and while I'm under the car, I'm going to do a bolt check while everything's draining and start thinking about how I'm going to make this air ducting. Honestly, I'm probably just going to disconnect the lower radiator hose because it'll drain way faster that way. This is about to make an absolute mess. It always does. Oh my god. Next I want to think about where I want my sriracha tank overflow. This would be easy, just putting it in here. But I kind of want to just tuck it under the core support area. See how that would look from the bottom. Sriracha bottle has been mounted. Nice and tucked out of the way. Now let's reinstall our lower radiator hose so we can fill up distilled water. Here's the sriracha tank. You can actually kind of see it through this vent. You know what I was thinking about on the highway last night leaving Omar's? I never checked if the drain bolt was tight on the new oil pan. So while we're under here, let's just verify that. It was. Okay, good. Since I made such a mess over here, I'm gonna wait for this coolant to dry up a little bit more. So let's install this window regulator in the meantime. I've probably put this off more than anything else on the car, other than seam sealing it, of course. I'm glad that we're finally gonna be able to knock this out. And if you see any lines in the screen, that's because this camera does not calibrate to these lights, so the frequency is a little bit off. There's no setting on this camera that I can adjust. A lot of you guys have suggested I do that, but unfortunately, this camera is not that great. I mean, it's good, it gets the job done, but you can only do so much with it. Oh look, we only have half a switch to work with. Eventually I would like to upgrade my camera setup, but I just have not had the time to research anything like that. I've been so busy with cars blowing up and drift events coming up. Someday I'll get my stuff together. But if you have any suggestions, please let me know. All right, let's see what we're working with in here. This is a crank setup, but the previous owner of this door somehow modified it so that it was relocated, probably for his cage or something. So this should be coming out right around here. First thing I'm gonna do is just take off all the regulator bolts and try and free up this wire. I think I might actually have to roll the window up a little bit to get access to all the bolts. Oh, this window is gross. All right, so I've just verified the window does indeed go all the way up and stops where it needs to. This is the regulator that we're putting in. Looks like we have 2 nuts down here and 2 nuts up here. And then the window attaches here, 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 and here. So there's our 2 bottoms, 2 tops. And there's the window bolts. So maybe I do need this all the way down. I think I'm gonna start with just taking off the window entirely. All right. Oh, I almost knocked over the glass. Let's compare the two. All right, so this is the manual one, just took out. Here's an automatic one. I wanna make sure that it has all the hardware it needs on there. Looks like there's supposed to be some sort of gasket. It's not really a gasket anymore, huh? And I pulled this automatic regulator out of the junkyard. This was on that black 240 hatch that was bone stock, had a crackless dash. And I even pulled the KA out of that car, and it is now in the 300CX. Honestly, I took damn near everything off of that car in the junkyard, but all the parts are going to great use. So I guess this will just slide right back down in there. I just realized I was putting it in upside down. Oops. It'll only fit one way, the correct way. Now we're just lining up our studs. I'm gonna try and tighten these down so that it covers that paint hole. Luckily this door was painted, so I can see the outline of where this needs to be. That will verify that the window is aligned correctly. Otherwise, if you roll the window up, it could overlap over here or over here. Yeah, you don't want window problems. That's not fun. This window is disgusting. Let's clean it up before we throw it in the car. It even has some moss growing on it. Ugh. The window feels way cleaner now. You can't even see that there's a window there. You want to make sure that you have all of your plastic washers in between. These are going to protect the window when you tighten everything up. Very carefully lower this in. Looks like I'm going to have to lower down the regulator because there's no way I'm going to be able to fit the studs through this. Which means I need to install the wiring harness. Probably should have done that first. Totally forgot we had to do that. All right, this obviously goes through the door. So, oh, we have a grommet there. We don't need this one because our harness has a grommet on it. This grommet goes through the firewall. And then this is the door grommet. I ended up having to take off the regulator because the harness goes in between the door and the regulator itself. I just slide this all the way through. Pretty sure the amp bolts right here. 2 bolts here. That's my guess. It's been a while. I plugged in all the wiring, and I've also installed a jump pack in the back because I don't have a battery plugged in. Now let's verify if the regulator works or not. Ooh, it does. Ooh, can we roll that window up? Ah, jump pack must have turned off. Jump again. Yes. I've had no windows for 2 years now. That changes today. But all right, let's roll this regulator all the way down. I'm gonna have to mount and zip tie all the wiring that's in here. I don't really like that dangling around. These are all for power locks and stuff like that, which obviously is not gonna be on a manual door. Don't really need it. This is for the speaker. I have no idea what this is for. This is all we're worried about is the switch. Grab our nice clean window. And drop it in. Whew. Last but not least, we need to reinstall the bump stops on the window. I had to take these off in order to fully remove the glass because it was hitting the actual bump stops. That's what they're for. They prevent the window from overextending. So this washer goes in the back. Oh, it's gonna be hard to do with one hand. And then this just goes on the front right here. Now let's verify that the window height is correct because there are some adjustments that you can make. You would only really need to adjust these bump stops if your car was in a serious wreck, or maybe even if it was T-boned on this side. But either way, let's just see if it works. Oh, look at that. Fits perfectly. It's a good thing I bought this car off the original owner. That way I know it has no chassis damage. We need to put on this door card, and then we can call this operation done. Alright, let's begin doing our cooling plate. Now the metal I bought to do this is pretty thin actually. It is only 26 gauge. I bought some really small square tubing as reinforcements. But basically what I want to do is make a plate on the bottom here that I can bolt in, probably from the tension arm bolts. That's how I made my last one. And that goes all the way up and into the bumper. So basically it'll cover all of this area. Now you would think that would be pretty insignificant and wouldn't make a difference, but you'd be shocked. You have to imagine the air coming in and taking the path of least resistance, so it goes straight down. Now if you put this plate here, that forces the air to go all the way through and to the radiator, hopefully. It did work on my last setup and it was pretty easy to make, so let's knock it out. I think I'm probably gonna start with trying to align some cardboard so I know how to cut this piece. Grab the square, I'm just kind of test fitting it. Have to trim some off the back there. Now let's test fit this. Now in order to do that, we're gonna need to take off all of the bolts that hold on the tension arm brackets. Looks pretty good. Now if I just left it like that, I would probably get a danger to manifold, meaning this plate would probably just fly off. So we are gonna reinforce it with those little tubes. Probably gonna cut these down to size and continue the angle of the tension arm inward. And I want these tubes to be near the bolts. All right, we got the ducting finished up. I tried not to weld it too much so it wouldn't warp, and it did just that, it warped. Even from just tack welding it. This metal is paper thin, so I should have expected that to happen, but I'm curious to see how this will hold up on the highway and if the temps really do drop again. I think now I can put the car back on the ground. I'm done under the car. It is time to do spark plugs. That's pretty dark. Spark plugs are officially done. They were all black. This RB has been running a little bit rich for some time now. I haven't really had time to diagnose why. I don't hear or see any vacuum leaks. I don't know, I think we need to pressure test the system soon. I'd say it's about time for a test start. Let's make sure everything runs correctly now. Damn, that started right up. Since we verified it runs good, I've basically checked off all major items from my to-do list. Now let's do something about these black wheels. I love these RG1s, but I hate the fact that they're black. So I might just do what I used to do with my old wheels and just spray paint them metallic-y silver. It's not exactly chrome, but it'll get the job done for now. I do plan to get these powder coated in the future, but obviously we don't have time for that. And yeah, they just look not good black. Now you want to give the original paint here a light scuff. That way the new paint has something to stick to. As I'm sanding this inner barrel, you can see where it said Advan here. Advan Racing. Oh, it's a shame these were spray painted. Now I just spray a little bit of window cleaner on top, nothing too crazy. Just enough to get the towel slightly damp. And you want to use a clean towel, preferably a microfiber, because you don't want to leave little speckles behind. Get that cleaned up real good. Now I'll grab some note cards and stick them along the edge. Tape up this little guy. Are you ready for paint? I'm gonna move this out of the garage so I don't spray my car and wheels. Now usually I would spray this silver metallic on it first because this has a primer in it as well, but we don't have that kind of time. So we're just gonna go straight to the finishing coat. My gosh, these turned out great. It is starting to rain out here again, so I need to push this inside somehow. You can already see all the speckles in it from the raindrops. Well, I'd say that definitely improves the look of the car significantly. You can actually tell what kind of wheels are on it now. That's pretty hot. Car's all packed up and loaded. We're about to head out. Wish me luck this weekend. Thank you guys for sticking around for another video. Don't forget to drop a like, subscribe to see more. I'll see you in the next one. Peace.